Party, party.
I am
Hi,
so
everyone. I'm Catherine, aka the High Heel Gamer, and welcome to the Late Night Nerd Show. So it's official. I have new favorite people. Like it's just a thing now.
Hey,
Sorry to my former favorite people. You may or may not have gone down the favorites list. So with me today, I'm super, super excited. We have some of the creators and the people behind one of our favorite games along with other games as well. Yay! It's so cool. We have some of the people from Even Footing Gaming here today. Let's bring them in. Say hello to Lee and Jason. Hi,
hey
guys.
everyone. Thanks for
How's
having
everybody
us,
doing?
Catherine.
Thank you so much for like being
Yes.
here and understanding the whole Rona situation I had going on a couple of weeks ago. It's my favorite.
boy, do we. I think we've
Yeah.
all had it at
I
this
think we
point.
have,
So
yeah.
Oh
yeah.
wow. No, I played the
It's
2.5 year
connecting
dodge.
us, yeah.
Oh,
I
great.
played the 2.5 year dodge and it finally got me. And I was like,
Same,
Same.
no.
same. Yeah.
I got it a week after I got vaccinated. So
Oh my
yeah, it was
gosh.
just the worst. I just
I
didn't
got
have that buffer
Yeah,
time.
you
So
weren't there, you didn't have enough of the buffer. I
got
got
me
it
right
over
under
No.
the wire.
I got
Dang.
it over the holidays. We were good. We went to visit my wife's family and I'm like, I don't want to go because I know
Yeah.
but we went, and the one time that I wasn't like masked or like I stopped into a gas station for 10 minutes
Yeah.
to fill up the tank and I got it. And nobody else in the family did. The kids were
Oh,
vaccinated,
good.
wife was
Yeah.
vaccinated, everyone was good. It was just like, I can pinpoint which truck driver from Ohio breathed on me and gave it to me.
Well, lucky for me, none of my family members also got it because I was
Good,
super paranoid. First of
good.
all, my
Yeah,
youngest
yeah.
one thought I was dead. Like once
Oh
the test came
no.
back, he was like, "No, not my mother," and I'm like,
That's how
"Calm
my kids
down.
were.
I don't have
Yeah,
Okay,
one
yeah,
first
foot in the
off.
grave. Like it's
yeah.
just I'm still upright. Like let's calm down."
Mhm.
But yeah, I know exactly when I got it. Like
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
when I got it as well.
Yeah.
So yeah. Look, so we do have a fan already.
Hello.
He might be biased because I'm the one that shoved the book in his face like we're playing
Good.
this.
I
Like
like
we're
biased
so playing
opinions.
Hey, bias is fine. I will take bias in the day of the week.
So tell us a little bit about even footing gamings as a whole, and then we'll break down the games if you guys don't mind, whichever one wants to start.
Cool, sure. Lee, you want to go? You want to start?
Sure. So Babies and Broadswords started out as a one shot that Jason had worked up for a different game that we were a part of. And we all got to playing it and we all just started making jokes about the names and different classes and all that. And eventually we realized that we had something here, or at least Jason realized it at the time, and he started writing stuff down and making character sheets. And it wasn't really until like a year later that we really put anything into practice, and that's when Even Footing Games came up. We separated from a company that we had differences with, and we all looked at each other and said, like, it can't be that hard to run a company, like just all be
Famous last
decent to
words.
each other.
Yeah, we were dumb.
Well, I mean, like in a social way, like it just be
Right,
kind
right,
and
right.
be honest with
Mm-hmm,
each
mm-hmm.
other, and we can figure that out. And we have something here. We have a system. We have a game that could work really well. Jason's very creative and a brilliant mind, and when we put stuff down on paper, then it can become something. And so we started to actually, we found an artist, wonderful Jack Rapson, and Allie, and it all just kind of came together a lot faster than any of us expected. And yeah, just anytime people talk about the game, they say they love it, and that's really everything to us so far.
Yeah, we all came. There's 11 of us now. I
Oh
don't know.
wow.
I think.
Just about.
Yeah, and there were 10 or 11 of us to start with as well. And we all came from. Some of us were working for a different company. Some of us were working on different podcasts. A couple of us were just people that somebody else knew, and it really was like let's make something fun and silly and whimsical, but yet really kind of explore more narrative gaming styles. Let's
Mhm.
move away from all the math.
Yeah.
Or at least try to keep that down to a low roar. And yeah, it really was. It was we came together, a bunch of us, and we're like, we're gonna do everything on consensus. We're gonna vote for any decisions that we make as far as how we run this and this and that. We're all gonna take turns kind of taking over different aspects of things. So you might be in charge of running this team for this game, but I'm gonna watch what you do and take over for this game. And then so we're really trying to make it more of a collective, almost a hippie commune of tabletop gaming. So yeah, and we were just fortunate enough that we already had Babies and Broadswords. So, it was already something that about half of us had played. I had the bones. I had 80% of it fleshed out. So it really was just like, let's use this as a proof of concept. Most of the work has been done. Can we turn this into something that we can market? Can we turn this into something that we feel good enough to show other people? And I think we did. I definitely feel like we succeeded in that.
Yeah. So you guys were playing a D&D campaign based on the origin stories, the D&D campaign. Were you guys streaming that? Was that like something just for you guys?
Oh, the original being Babies and Broadswords. Yeah,
Mhm.
it was Patreon exclusive, right? That was the idea. Was yeah, we were playing.
We were going to do Patreon episodes for a different show.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That we separated from.
That was the initial. That was where the initial game came from. Lee and myself and Allie, who was the primary artist on this one, we're all players on this other actual play podcast.
Okay.
And Babies and Broadswords was just something that came out of us joking around. Like, what can we do for the Patreon? And coming back to Corona, I had been furloughed from the pandemic, so I'm sitting at home trying to figure out what to do. And my wife and kids were like, "You need to do something because you're driving all of us nuts." Yeah, anything, Dad, go stop moping around and go do something useful. Yeah, exactly. So it really was just like, all right,
through that.
that stupid thing that we were joking around with. All right, let me see what I can do. And I just started typing. It was the first game I'd ever kind of tried to design on my own after, decades of playing this game or that game. But yeah, the initial game, Babies and Broadswords, very much is kind of a spoof of Dungeons and Dragons to some extent, because that's what we were playing mostly when we first came up with the idea. We might go on in subsequent books and subsequent adventures to kind of poke fun at different games, but B&B is very much D&D.
Yeah. So you guys, this isn't the only game you guys have, correct?
It's the only one that we've got marketed right now, but we are in the process of putting out a couple of other games. Yeah, we're writing some different games. Our systems guy, Jimmy St. James, has crafted something really very cool as far as a new system goes. It's a lot more. It's kind of based on the same idea of our system. It's more focused on your emotional, your physical, and your spiritual well-being of your characters. It's just going to be a lot more expansive and kind of a lot more mature in the themes. So, but as far as what's out right now, the Babies and Broadswords main book, and then we have a Winnie the Pooh module that uses the same rules, but you play as the characters from Winnie the Pooh. So,
okay. I don't think I got to see that because at playthrough,
we haven't had it out yet.
It wasn't out yet. Yeah, it just came out. A month ago, maybe?
A month ago? Yeah, April.
Yeah,
sometime in April.
Yeah.
It's 2 months now.
So it's like our first long play module. Yeah, it's but it gave us a chance to play around with some pre-existing stuff and to exactly, yeah. We had to wait on Tigger. Zach is saying Tigger in the chat. Tigger won't be public access until 2016. So
we had to wait.
2016.
Yeah, it's like owned by Disney right now still, because it was added. He wasn't in the original book.
Tigger is first in the second book, and the only one that's public domain right now is the first book. So it's
got it. Okay. That makes okay.
Yeah. So we'll get Tigger.
We got all the other characters.
We'll throw Tigger in a couple of years. Yeah.
Give it a few more years, and you'll get your Tigger, Zach. It's fine. But it's probably worth the wait. So so let's get into some of this stuff. Let me highlight myself real quick, just so everybody can see like the artwork
Look
of.
at that.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I love it.
Look at that
It's like,
shiny cover.
I know. It's what made me stop at the at the booth was the shiny cover. And of course I didn't mark because I didn't want to like ruin the book or anything like that. But I want to show some of the characters you guys have in here.
Absolutely.
Look how cute.
Yeah, that's
I
our
just
little
love it.
drow.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Our baby
And
one.
so I just love this. So what was the concept behind making it like toddlers kind of? What I need to understand the creative process where you're
Sure.
just like, toddlers is the way to go.
I think the idea was that we were pretty much playing like we were children anyway, or like
Yeah.
we had no
Okay. Guidance.
the premise of
I
the
usually
premise.
don't interrupt, but what I love is Lee's co-signing what Jason's saying. Like, so Jason's saying and Lee's like, yeah, yeah. So I just love this dynamic. So sorry, go on.
We know each
Lee is
other
very
well.
much saying the quiet part loud there. Yeah. The idea of the game that we were playing in was that you're trapped in a video game. Like we were characters who were trapped in a video game. So it kind of gave us all that sense of, well, nothing of this really matters because we're not really here. So whatever our characters do in the game it's just a video game. Like one of my characters' ongoing things with it, he refused to accept that any non-players were real. Like he would just call them robots or bots or whatever the case may be. So I would just jerk to everyone. It's like, it doesn't matter. They're numbers. They're not real people. So we had already kind of gotten in that idea. It was like, nothing that we do, we have no care for anybody else. You know who doesn't else have care for other people? Children. Kids are selfish little greedy need machines. We're already playing that way. What if you were doing this when you were 4 and you had a silly voice to go along with it? So it really was, how do you kind of play that selfish, silly way without having to necessarily feel bad about it?
Yeah.
Because
And
that's a
that's
kid's
exactly how
natural
it was
inclination.
for me when I
Exactly.
was
Yeah,
little.
yeah. Kids'
Yeah.
natural inclination is to be grabby, gimme, gimme. And it's expected when you're that age. Like, when you see a kid sneak a cookie jar, it's like, well,
Yeah.
Shame on you, but I knew you were going to sneak that cookie jar. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then just the idea of a 4-year-old setting things on fire and running around with sharp, pointy objects was just made us laugh too. So.
It's everybody's favorite Rugrats. Yeah. It's kind of like
Yes,
kind of
it's
just
very
like
much
Yeah.
Rugrats. That's a huge inspiration.
You guys also have a podcast. Now, does a podcast play along to episodes of like you guys playing this game? Is it just a standalone kind of podcast?
The podcast is kind of
now.
yeah.
Yeah.
The idea for the podcast is it's Even Footing Games Presents, and the idea is that each season we're going to sort of focus or feature on whatever game we're developing at the time. So our first season just wrapped up, and it was Babies and Broadswords. It was what did we get? 25 episodes, something like that.
I believe that's where we ended,
yeah 25. Yeah, it's somewhere in the mid-20s of episodes. And part of the episode would be us actually playing, and then the other part would be us talking about some of the rules, the mechanics that we were working on. So it really was very much okay, so in the fight we did this. Does that make sense to do? No, I don't like that either. So we'll take that out. So the game we're playing at the very beginning of the season is very different from the one that we end up playing at the very end. So it's like just because we were playtesting as we were going. So
we were still writing, yeah. And then at
and
the
we
end
were
of
still
the
right.
series, we had the book like written and published, and so
yeah. So right now, though, we just started, and this is we're in June 20th that week. We're going to do a short season of playing Avatar Legends from Magpie Games. So it's not a game that we created, but we wanted to play another indie game so that we kind of pick apart the things that we like about it and don't like. So, and then we'll get back into whatever our next big game is. We'll do another long season of whatever game we're working on. So each season is standalone. And it's really just kind of us playing what we're making and giving people at home a chance to listen
They're viewable.
They
or
are.
play
Okay.
along. Yeah, and we've got a YouTube page. They're viewable on the YouTube page, and they're all over the podcasting world, so you can listen or you can watch. We tried doing live games the first couple of times and streaming them that way, and none of us have faces for more than radio, unfortunately.
We had children in the background.
And there were kids running around in the
Yes.
background. It was like lots of.
That's yeah. I had to rearrange my studio because my kids were like, "You're live, so am I." And I'm just like, "Get away from me!" So I had to
Okay,
rearrange my
no.
studio. So now they can't, like, they cannot, like, come to the camp because my youngest is very famous for that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, "Don't get away!" Like, so I completely understand that part of it all. So that's good that they're archived. Well, I'll put the link of the YouTube
Perfect.
once this is done. I'll go back and edit. That's the beauty of this. You can go back and edit, and I'll add the YouTube. I'll also
love
go
editing.
ahead and add the link to the website as
Mhm.
well. So this is most of the people. I'm pretty sure I met all of them at all of these people at Playthrough, but you guys actually are a very, like you said, you're a large group of people. 11, you said?
11.
I think there's
Is
11
that
right
large?
now.
Is
Yeah.
that a big group?
To
Doesn't
me,
feel
it
that
is.
big.
Any more
Yeah.
than 3, and it's like social anxiety. So
Oh, I think that group of 4 right there, I think those are the most of any of us who've actually been in the
there you
same
go.
room together. So
Oh, yeah.
it's yeah. The majority of us have
It's
never met
difficult
in
to
real
meet up.
life. Yeah.
Yeah. Look how
It's all online
great.
stuff.
I love that there's little bios too. I like to
Mhm.
know, like, the people behind what I love. Like, you know, I try to explain this to the best of my abilities to my family because I love the pitch that was given to me, which was pretty much like, "You get to be a kid, no regrets, and just
Mhm.
play
Do
play the
whatever.
stuff that you like to play, D&D-esque style." And, you know, like I said, I tried my best to explain it, but once my husband read the rules and he explained it to the kids, we just all fell in love with it, and then we played it,
Thank you.
and it was simple and complicated at the same time.
Mhm.
And we enjoyed that. You know what I mean? It's nice to have fun with a game that's fun, where you're not getting frustrated, where you're
Mhm.
not confused, where you're not going pulling your hair out because you just don't understand what it is, stuff like that. So I just like seeing I think this is pretty cool that you guys were able to give each person their little blurb and links. So I think that's pretty cool. And then
Yeah.
you can also find all the podcasts right there. Bam. Yep.
Mhm.
There it is.
Um,
Yeah, we just started putting out the new season, so it's a great time to get caught up and you can binge listen to all the old stuff. So Jason is the sitter, as we call it, instead of the DM or GM.
yeah. I love it. And who the artist again is?
Allison
Uh,
Webb or Allie Webb.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's back on the other page.
She's did the majority of our character work, and then Jack Brabson does a lot of our background stuff.
Okay. Oh, okay. So it really is a team effort.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. So I have a lot of people that are, trying to get into whatever it is, comic book, video
Mhm.
games, cosplaying. They're usually just at the low. Do you guys have a background in this kind of stuff, or you guys just kind of fell into creating?
I don't think any of us have a background
I mean, our
in.
artists have been doing art for years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's about it.
Jack has done commission work for a few years, so he's got that sense. Allie just draws for the fun of it, So, yeah, I think we just all came from disparate places. Like I come from an education background, and I'm doing social work now. Aaron, our CEO, was a therapist for a long time. We've got a couple of teachers. We've got some web designers on the crew. It was just really more love of a shared passion, that brought us together than any. So if there's a tip to anyone out there, get someone on your team who's good at numbers, and
Yes.
and have them do all the hard stuff while you do the fun part.
It's terrible.
That's worked for me. Yeah.
Let them do the hard stuff. You do the fun, cheesy stuff. Got it.
Tip number 1.
Yeah, I guess I would say that one of the things that I was told near the beginning is just like with stuff like this, there's no like qualifications for being a writer or a voice actor or anything. You can just do it. You can just start doing that thing, and you can just say that you're doing it now. And that sometimes is like the hardest step is, we were a part of a different show that I didn't really enjoy. And then I realized I was like, well, I see all these things that I could be doing that would be better. So like, why don't we just do that? And, we were working on this project and putting all this time into it and it's not working out. So like, just like make our own project. Just, go over there. You just got to get started.
Yeah. Nothing that you do in your life is ever wasted if you take the time to really pick out what you've learned how to do. Anything can be translated in one way or another. We may have not had the best time in the last thing that we were working on creatively, but we picked up ways to do things. We picked up ways not to do things.
Yeah.
So
plus the skill can kind of be learned, right? Like
and that's the thing. Any skill that anybody knows, they had to learn how to do it first. So there's no reason.
You gotta practice.
Yeah. It all comes down to practice. Our Erin, our CEO, does, and her husband do a lot of the sound editing for our podcast. They'd never done it before, but they liked it, and they kept working on it.
Are they available for hire? Because I hate audio.
Man, they might be. They might be. I was trying to do it for a while, and like we were going back and forth. Like I would do an episode, they would do an episode, I would do an episode, they would do an episode, just to take some of the brunt off. And Aaron, after a while, was like, "You're not good at the editing part."
Oh no!
And it was, I mean, in not so many words, but that was the message.
And
I was fine. I was like, okay, you are better at this than I am, and I bow to your superior ability. I am okay not sitting in front of the computer editing for 9 hours a day to get half an hour of content.
Yeah.
And Lee, you said you're the editor, right? So.
I do a lot of writing, editing, and then I also do like communications, social media, stuff like that. I'm actually working on writing some of the stuff for our next module. And that, like, as I said earlier, it's a big, huge new project for me. It's completely different writing than I've ever done before. And it's just taking a lot of practice, but I'm learning about it and I like it a lot. So
how do you feel overall, how do you feel about going out of your comfort zone? It's something I personally, I feel like sometimes you do have to get out of your comfort zone because you might surprise yourself. How do you feel about that as someone that's actually going through it right now?
It's a lot. Separate from Even Footing Games, I have my own show, and that's been taking up a lot of my time. And so taking on this project has been a big deal for me, but it's also something that I've put a lot of thought into and I have a lot of ideas for. And so I feel like when it comes to things that are out of your comfort zone, you just kind of have to know whether or not it's going to be worth it. And to me, it's worth it. I'm very excited about writing this. I'm very excited to bring everything that I have to the team. And I think that just learning how to do this kind of thing is very useful. And I think it's a good skill to have, especially for this team, because if I can do this, if I can write these things, then I can help out Even Footing Games more and become more of a writer and everything. So
I like that. I like the fact that you actually did put something about it has to come be worth it. It's part of the satisfaction, like you guys started this and then I'm sure the moment you guys held it and did one of these things, my
name is in a book.
It was so nice. Yeah.
I couldn't believe it when I saw it.
I have a Library of Congress entry now, it's like, wow, I'm a real boy. It's very cool. It's very cool.
Yeah, I can only imagine, For me, like I'm a published author, and when I held my book, it was like, oh, I did it, but I'm not gonna lie, like I kind of half-assed it just because I wanted to see what the process was like. I wanted to
Yeah,
see what
that's
avenues
totally
I
fair.
had, how difficult, how so
I'm
proud
I'm
of
glad
it.
you
But when
just so
people ask,
easily
yeah,
tossed it out there. Oh
yeah,
yeah,
let's
whatever.
see. But when people ask, I'm like, you don't want to buy this book. Like it was terrible. Like it was so when I see something like this or a comic book, like I feel like that feeling would be 10 times more amplified than what I felt. Um, did it take I know you guys said it was a year before, right? Did I remember that right? It
I
was a
think
year
so.
from
Give or
concept
Somewhere
take
to
around
around
there.
there.
this.
From
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a first thought to actual
yeah.
published book, I think it was about a year.
It's probably about a year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was the most difficult part and what was the most satisfying aside from actually holding it? What was
Right.
the
Right.
most difficult and most satisfying part of the process?
For me, just giving it to other people. I mean, it really was like handing it, because I had written what I thought was the game, and then to
Mhm.
hand it over to people and to hear it was like, okay, well, this is we need to cut about you know X
The
percent of
critique,
this, and we need to edit
feedback.
this, and we get and this
Mhm.
doesn't make any sense, and this has got to go, and this mechanic doesn't work out. It's just like, oh, I'm not as smart
But
as
I
I
like
thought I
that
was.
part.
Oh, but I like that. Yeah, it really was. It was. So for me, it was just understanding. It's like this isn't mine anymore. This belongs to me and these other 10 people who've agreed to put in their time and their effort and their money, and it's got to be something that we're all proud of. So
Yeah,
so that was hard for me to kind of give it up, to say, okay, this was my baby, but this is our child, and it's going to take this whole village to get this thing out the door. Yeah.
that's a good analogy. That's a good analogy. What was the most satisfying part aside from holding it?
I don't know, Lee. What was most satisfying for you?
I was gonna say the printing process was the most difficult because man, that just took a lot
Oh.
of just like figuring out how exactly the dimensions and all the math that comes into
Oh.
actually publishing a book. The most satisfying thing for me, weirdly, was the line reads, going through like right before we were publishing and just getting like all of like the fine little details and going over. It was mostly three people, me, Jason, and our friend Jimmy, going through these lines just over and over, and I find that process very satisfying. So
I was sick of the book by that
I
point.
know
Like
you were,
I
which is
never
why I
wanted
needed to be
to
there.
yeah,
Jason was like, I don't think we're friends anymore. Like,
I
what are
was
you
just like,
saying
I
right
don't
now?
want to. As we were
Uh,
getting towards the end, I mean, satisfying for me was to be like, okay, there's nothing officially that I have to do on this thing anymore, right? Like I'm done. I can step away because I've been breathing this book for a year now, and
yeah.
and I don't have the attention span for it. I don't, I'm ready to start working on something else. Please let me be
But
done. So,
but
Yeah.
yeah,
and
going through that process was I don't know, it made it a lot more real to me than anything else. And even before I had the book in my hands, I was like, this is the thing. And that was and being able to be a part of that and put my touches on it was really nice. So
Like that. Aw. So some of you have been going to conventions, showing this off.
Mhm.
That's how we met. I believe it was playthrough.
Yep,
COVID
Mhm.
messed up my brain, so I'm still trying to remember stuff.
that's
Um,
fair.
are there any conventions coming up that you guys are going to? I know you guys told me privately, but you could tell the interwebs.
Yeah, we're gearing up to go to Gen Con.
Yes, exciting.
We
We'll have books available.
Our books will be available. We'll have PDFs of some of the stuff that we're working on that isn't uh, necessarily out for sale. So it'll be con exclusive stuff. We're going to be
Ooh,
playtesting
new
our new
Yeah, we'll
things.
have to
system,
go to Gen Con now.
right?
Yeah, you
Um,
should.
yeah, so we're excited. It's going to be kind of our first big con. So
Mhm.
we're hoping to get out there and meet some folks and shake some hands and sell some books. Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
awesome. And if all else fails, they can get the game and the book on your website, correct?
Hmm.
Yep, we have
Uh,
links to our drive-through and Amazon page. So.
Yep. You can get the physical copy through Amazon. You can get the PDFs through drive-through, which we'll link to both in our website. And very soon, Probably we're hoping in the next month or so you'll be able to actually order the book from your local bookstore.
Oh, how exciting. I like a good exclusive statement.
Yep,
Yes.
yep.
I have nothing wrong with PDFs. PDFs are great, but man, if you can get your hands on the
Get your
physical
hand
book,
on the book.
get your hand all up on
I feel
this
left out.
book.
It looks
Right here.
it looks great on your shelf.
It does. Well, we actually keep it. Yeah, you see, get your hands all up on this book. It is just, and it smells so good. It smells like a new book. Come on, man, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, but the artwork is amazing. The writing in it is amazing. It's fun. You know, I say it's simple, but it's simple in the sense of you don't have to officially overthink it, right?
I think it's
You get to,
intuitive.
yeah,
Like-
you know, you get to sit down and enjoy it. You get to laugh and giggle instead of just because sometimes when I play like official D&D, I'm like my hair is like this big and my temples are like, what is happening?
I don't
Like,
know what it what.
Yeah.
Where did this beat come from?
yeah, exactly. It's
Oh,
like
wait.
I tapped on this thing 3 times. Like, why isn't it doing? I know there's something there, you know. Where this
It's a
is
challenge
like,
rating.
yeah, you know, I wouldn't recommend eating pizza because the book is amazing, but you can have a good, you know, non-sticky snack and laugh with your family. Non-sticky snack.
You know,
Non-snicky snack. That's good. No, I'm gonna put that on the cover of the next edition. Yeah.
like some carrot sticks and hummus. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
nice and
No,
quick.
we wanted to make something that would be simple enough that kids and new players could pick up, but had enough kind of, you know, behind the scenes weight to it that experienced players would say, oh, there's actually something, you know, there's a little bit more here that we can play around with.
And that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like it's still like a good story. There's still good meat to it. You know what I mean? Because my youngest is 11. I've got a 21-year-old. I'm in my 40s. I'm 43, maybe. I think I always forget how old I am. We all have fun playing it. You know, one person doesn't feel left out because it's too kiddie-ish, and the other person doesn't feel left out because it's too grown up and things are flying. You know, like so. I like that it's fun for the whole family, like legit fun for the whole family. Like it's
actually,
not,
yes.
There's it's so much fun. Like I rave and rant, and I don't put it on my bookshelf. I actually have it on a flat table because
That's
I'm too
awesome.
scared. I love my kids, but they do things, you know. They don't put stuff the right way, and because it's a soft cover, it might bend. Like I'm already like you could see me like losing it just thinking about them messing up my corners of the book. Like, oh my God, don't touch anything. Like that's how much fun. Like I love this.
Yeah. Well, if they jank up your copy, let us know, and we'll send you a clean one. Yeah, we'll get you a new one.
Jank up my copy, and the whole world will know because they'll be down the street like old school Lou Ferrigno on the Hulk singing the sad song. Like, don't touch my stuff. I'm that parent. I'm like, I love you. Don't touch my things.
I was so happy when I finally got an office. Like I have a corner of the house. It's like 10 feet by 10 feet. It's not big, but it's like, you cannot come in here. This is my space. It's got a door and I will close it. Yeah.
Thou shall not pass. Like,
exactly.
Don't do it. Yeah.
I'm gonna take all the stuff that your mom maybe put in the attic when you were little. I'm gonna take that all out of the attic now. I don't have any other room in here, but I got all my toys out now.
I think my favorite thing is when one of my kids' friends come and they like touch something. They're like, "That's my mom's toys. You can't touch my mom's toys. My toys are over here. Like, don't touch my mom's toys." And it's like we've got to designate those kinds of things. But anyway, I love you guys. Yeah, like I could literally talk to you guys forever. The whole crew is actually okay. Not exaggerate because I haven't met the whole crew. I've met what feels like most of them, and they're all just so nice, so sweet. I stood at your booth for maybe 15-20 minutes just chatting it up. Even
We're
after
chatty.
like you guys sold me on the book. I bought the book and then I stayed and hung out with you guys and you guys sold me on you guys. And I was like, how do I pocket what you guys got going on? Like you were like, listen to the podcast. And I was like, okay.
All right. Yeah.
Listen to the podcast.
You can listen to us talk all day there.
Yeah.
That's all we do. Yeah.
No, but you guys have been super, super fun. There's links to everybody's profiles if you guys want to follow Jason. I believe Lee's profile is on there as well. Do yourself a favor, follow Even Footing Gaming. Games. Sorry.
Games.
You got it.
It's all good.
Same thing.
Get your hands on the physical copy, Babies and Broadswords. You won't regret it. You really won't. If you like D&D and you don't want to cry at the end of the game, cry tears of joy.
We messed that up too, didn't we?
Yeah. Cry tears of joy at the end of tears of frustration. Cry tears of joy at the end of this.
Yes.
We'll take it. Yeah.
If you guys want to hang out for just a little bit when we finish wrapping, let me just close this down here. Guys, thank you so much for stopping by and tuning in. What's happening next week? I don't even know what's happening next week. I'll be at Heroes Con this weekend, so if you're going to be at Heroes Con, flag me down. I'll be running around the floor interviewing people. Yeah, it is lots of fun. I enjoyed it so much. You know what to do. Go follow Even Footing Gaming. Go check out their website. I promise you. Have I led you astray yet? No. So do yourself a favor and get this. You'll love me for it. I'll see you guys later. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.